Hello, dear viewers. We're in another show, New Business. Here in the studio with me, we have Dr. Lightman and Igor, economic consultant, financial consultant. This is our 10th show in the series. Each show we discovered new things about the new business, the new economy. In this show, we want to summarize to a certain extent the points that we understand they're the foundation for building the new economy. But before that, I have a question that I'm curious about because I think it's the motivation for everything we're doing. If we look at a person today and we say, what do you enjoy? They say, my family. I have a bit of satisfaction from work. I enjoy from having money. I can buy all kinds of things. Those are basically the things. In this new world we're talking about, what does a person enjoy? Why not those things? The question is, really, I don't get it. The new person. He wants pleasures. He wants to fill himself. He wants to enjoy life. He's still a person. It's not like some robot. Okay, the family, of course, naturally will remain. A person has his family, enjoys it. His place at work, he gets satisfaction from work. I think today people get less satisfaction from what they can potentially get. First of all, we understand that we are definitely coming to recognize a world that will work only on the basis of necessary products for our existence, to remain in balance with nature, ecology, that not profit will be the goal of our existence, but rather the purpose of existence will be to provide ourselves with basic necessities, and all the rest he'll deal with other things. Many free hours, people will study. People will work on the connection between them, because through connection they'll feel what a creative force it is that provides them with a good result. That discovering the force of connection, they can start to discover the new world. Therefore, a person was not created, developed to work harder and harder all the time, to be in debt, to just fill people's desires, people that want to make him run to shop and do all kinds of things. I read some interesting research that even that divorce rate and this trend today not to get married also comes from those people that want to make a profit off it, because a family that divorces has to double everything. So it's good to break people up. For the capitalists, it's good for them to keep us separated. It's interesting you're saying. It's very interesting. Apart from the fact that our ego is pushing us also to be single and not have obligations between us. It's also supported by those that are making a profit off of it, doubling their profit. Today a person enjoys money that he has, the way you see it. I don't think the average person enjoys money. He doesn't have money, he has just debts. Let's say he doesn't have debt. There's a certain ladder of pleasures. He enjoys his ability to fill his needs. I don't mean money that I have in the bank or in my pocket. Money in my pocket, I feel I can fulfill myself, satisfy myself with good things that are good for me. Security, economic security. Yes, economic security you can say. But again, in the new society, after it will solidify, we won't feel security in having or not having money, because at the end of the day, I will receive the basic necessities. Doesn't matter how much I work, or if I work or not. The society will have to organize in such a way that everyone gets equal necessities. And then this format, what will I fill myself with? With all kinds of things for developing. We started a few sentences. And for every sentence, we want you to develop it. Let's start with the purpose of humanity. The purpose is to reach happiness and thriving. Yes. Happiness and thriving emotionally, yes. That is based on interaction. I want to stress something. The greatest happiness a person will have is connection with other people. That's the highest stage, the greatest stage that he will discover in his connection with others is a special filling, a superior filling, upper filling, that is a result of the connection between everyone. This filling that we'll feel is reflected to us from the integral system, where everything works in harmony. It's a feeling of life. If today everything is natural, then it's above nature. It's feeling this superior harmony will fill us. And this is where we will always want to rise upward on its stages. The next point, another thing that pushes us is doing for society and equality, yes. In other words, what we mean here, we're in a society where this value will replace all other agreements we have today, which is based on monetary. A person will receive salary according to his investment in society from the company itself, and also to the extent that he feels he's contributing, he'll receive the inner filling from that single force that he's discovering in society. If I invest more in connection, then instantly I will receive the result from it. This force that I'm causing a connection will come and give me a feeling of a higher life. This force only exists in the connection between people. I can't attain it by myself now. Do you have an example? Today we also feel it, but in an egoistic way, and that's why it's small and just coming and going. Let's open the bank account. It's the same word for bank account in Hebrew. It's something that reminds us of people like connecting during wars. Yes, there it's a psychological level only, but here we're talking about the fact that you'll begin to be an integral force with nature. You'll start to feel this force in nature that you never felt before. That begins to reflect itself on us. It's a new feeling. It's an upper force. It's the force of bestowal, the force of love, you can say, that gives life and maintains all of nature, all forms of nature. Well, people need to know that it exists. They will discover it through the connection. They don't need to know there's a force like that. Just from their perspective, they are performing the stages that we say. No, we could explain this to them in advance, because we can give examples like you're saying, times of danger, people connect, etc. And apart from that, when we do all kinds of workshops, you can feel through that how it's possible to attain it and very easily. I want to focus for a moment. We wrote another value is equality. Equality is the main foundation on which the value of connection will come. First of all, we have to bring society to equality. In corporal things, relative equality, so that people more or less will have whatever they need to feel that they exist, they can live. Just like today, if according to statistics we took an average family, everyone will be equal in this. There's not a family that needs more or less or wants more or wants less. According to what? According to nature, there's all kinds of inclinations. Not health stuff, but if you have your taste and I have my taste, then everyone will acquire what he needs, receive what he needs. Yes, of course. It's not like you just give to cows, you give everyone the exact same grass. Of course, we're very different in our free time, the way we connect. Each of us highlights their personality more. If you put everyone into factories or workplaces and in like an office, you don't see the individual behind the position that he fills, but here you will. Because if you just need humanity to supply not to produce very much, then everyone can choose what they really want to do, what suits them, what's closer to them. And those that will have to give up what they have, why do they have to give up? Today they're used to a certain standard, and if we want to make things equal, it's not clear. It all depends on education. Equality depends on us all. We're all human, and according to our corporal level. You live in a body and I live in a body. Your body is not more or less than mine. It's slightly different. Quantities of food or something. These are simple things. Everyone needs to be in their apartment with all their necessary things. Everyone needs to get a food basket. You need double the me, you'll get double the me. It's not an issue. But at the end of the day, everyone will have an equal standard of living. I don't understand. Let's say every family gets 10,000 shekels a month. And they do with the 10,000 shekels, with whatever they want. One will get cheese, one will get that. Let's say in the meantime. But everyone gets the 10,000 shekels? More or less, yes. According to how many family members? Why should it be otherwise? I'm trying to understand what the equality is. And you're saying everyone will get according to their needs. Everyone will get according to, if you weigh 200 kilos, you need more food than me, then you'll get more. I think gradually we need to reach a state where people will only take what they need. At the end of the day, you're coming to a warehouse, a supermarket, or whatever, and you're taking whatever you need. Clothes, food, things that our body needs, regular things. There's no problem to fill people. Everything's in the store, and what do you need? It all depends on how people relate to it. Today, they're divided, society is divided to all kinds of groups. You're saying the model will be based on the average citizen. The money, I just want to use this as an example. So The people that come from down upward will be happy. The people that have to come from high up down to the average level, how are they going to deal with it? It's going to be painful for them to go down so much, to compromise, to give up so much. There's two ways. Either through blows, revolutions, where he'll be thrown off the roof, and he'll live on the ground. He'll fall on the ground, not the middle. Otherwise, he'll understand that it's time that money doesn't work, and we'll reach it through a crisis. We'll reach it through revolution, through our recognition. Is there a chance that a person will give it up through education? There is a chance, and also he will give it up through the valuation of the society. Of if he has this security, the confidence that he won't be missing anything, and apart from that, he'll be valued by society, that he's contributing everything that he has, and he goes in to it, and he gets and he's valued by society. I don't see what he's losing out on. Of course, it has to do with education. So let's go on to the next point. Valuation from society is the motivation behind everything, and it's the main bonus. Apart from that, anything that belongs to the body, he receives. And here there won't be equality. Here it's based on your investment in society, of course. Here there will be competition, just the opposite. We want there to be competition. The transition from a consumption society to a balanced society will be done through an education system, through the environment. The education is for the sake of solidifying public opinion, and public opinion will influence everyone in a way that they will change. In other words, first of all, we have to raise in society the value of of connecting, and then in a natural way, people will give up consumption. The situation that we're talking about, consumption, will be balanced consumption, you're saying? Yes. That a person will only need to take what his body needs. What else? You need 2 kilos of something, take 2 kilos, whatever. Somebody needs 5 kilos, he'll take 5 kilos. If we have everything, today we produce this abundance. We just can't distribute it properly because everyone's only looking after themselves. So half of humanity is starving to death. But if we distribute it in a regular way, in an equal way, then you don't need to add anything apart from the equal distribution. So if I have it, what do I need? What do I need more? I'll fill my refrigerators. Consumption today, you're talking about? Of course today you do that. Today consumption determines a certain social status. You need certain things to belong to a certain status. It's called the culture of consumption. Of course, we know. So that won't exist now, because a person will not be valued according to that, and society will not agree to it. The gaps must be in how much a person invests in the environment. According to our body, everyone needs how much they need from those standard things, more or less, that everyone has. Today, the consumption, culture of consumption, finances a third of the world. What do we need it for? They're going to get everything. We need to understand that we have to say goodbye to all that economy. It's over. I wanted to ask, we spoke about the economy of the heart, and then you explained that there's 2 levels of economy. This balanced economy where everyone will get what they need to live, and above it, Another new economy will be built that will allow us to create connection between us, extracurricular activities. Do you see how this process will develop? And separated from this consumption of today, because today we also have activities and hotels. Everything will be based on connecting. Everything will be based on connecting. Education has to switch a person to be a huge consumer of the environment. He needs the environment. He wants the environment. He will invest himself in the environment to enjoy the environment, to get filling from there. And this filling will raise him higher and higher to feeling belonging not just to the social but to the universe, something that is above this world. It will take him to a different dimension, not to the 10% of high elite. Today we don't feel those things. This unity between us, there we'll discover the new force, this recognition, the feeling. There you'll open up channels to a new dimension, a superior dimension, existence beyond the body, where a person in the environment merges with the society. He merges with nature and starts to feel the inner forces of nature and the resources of nature, which today sounds like mystical. We can. It's only through exercises that we do with people, and then they'll understand it. But again, with the force of connection, we'll attain connection with nature, and there we will begin to feel the upper world in it, the upper dimension. Actually, the life that we're in before we're born and after we die. Is there a connection? Sorry, 1 second. Is there a connection between economy and spirituality? No. Economy, I don't know what economy is. It's how to economize the body. If we organize the economy in a way that everyone receives equally and can merge with others and really invest in society in order to receive from it the feeling of this upper life, that's economy. In other words, the function, whatever fills a person, this connection, this feeling that I want to attain, and towards this I give all my efforts, organize all economy. To what extent? Today, what are you doing? You're investing yourself in some workplace to give yourself this basic necessities and all sorts of additional things, materialistic things. And in that way, you're working in some place, you're in society, you get your basic necessities regardless of, and also your workplace becomes a place to contribute to society. You're not getting because you work there. You're getting because you're a citizen. And anything you invest at work and outside work in the society, it's all for the sake of getting filling that raises you to a spiritual level. And that is your work and your entire life. And right now, we are approaching the point of where we're discovering these things and seeing that they're the only thing that can exist from the crisis we are going through now, that it's coming to bring us to this new stage. The economy of the heart has a very clear definition. It's in social interaction, not interaction of the market. There's no profit goals. The goal is for interaction between community, people, and to create added value for people. There's a term called the time bank, that if I give an hour to the community, if I give like a consult, then somebody else gives an hour, and it's not so much how much it's worth, but from the point of time, based on time, contributing by time. It's the same interaction. They're trying to build it from new. What's the difference between this and what happens in communes and kibbutzes? The difference is the initial conditions. That today we reach development where we are at the entrance to a new stage of existence. The egoistic era is over, and now we're going into the altruistic bestowal era. Altruistic is something in this world, so it can be confusing using that term. We reached the new conditions where the previous conditions can no longer work. That's one. The second thing, everything depends on education. What's the goal of education? What happened there, I don't know. I don't want to get into it. There were so many different formats and lies. And the goal of education here is to provide a person from the start with freedom, so that actually you don't owe anyone anything apart from your willing participation in the society life. Participating in the social life. This education has to bring you to a state where everyone will want to give more and receive more. It's not that we're each obligated to give an hour. So instead of an hour, everyone gives money. So what? You call this a commune or a kibbutz? I don't know. It's the same thing in my eyes. What's an hour of work? It's worth this and this much. Here we're not talking about that. We're talking about by giving, you have an opportunity to receive. It's not giving. By contributing to society, and that you are receiving from that inner filling. And this inner filling is revealed in you in the feeling of upper life, healthier, higher, superior. It's other. And the other is just basic partnership, like anywhere. I want to go forward. So we summarized the goals. The goal of society is to reach happiness and thriving based on connection between people. Now we want to talk about the principles of the new economy. A prior condition for its success is change through education. A possessive person that generates happiness through others by taking advantage, and the other person is happy from interacting with society and contributing to society. You're talking about high stages of a corrected society, a corrected person. You're talking about the end. So you're right. I'm talking about, I wanted to ask, are there transition stages? Won't a person fail a bit? He will advance through good or will advance through bad? If from the beginning we put the goal of society to reach spiritual thriving and not corporal thriving, then through education, workshops, all kinds of activities, through this we can solidify an atmosphere where a person will be obligated to invest in work. Let's say right now a person will need to invest in work, say 4 hours or a week or something, or a certain kind of work that society needs. And rest of the time will be dedicated to learning in the first stages. This is obligatory. It'll be obligatory for every person in the family. Doesn't matter if you're on a pension or young, it doesn't matter. Education starts from 0 and ends on the last day of your life. In other words, the moment a person understands the essence of the change and goes into a certain process of education and connection, he'll gradually advance by feeling the pleasure and connection. He'll exchange the pleasure he had from consumption and everything to the pleasure from connection. Yes. So that helps us in the transition stages. He feels it from the first time. Here, I'll put you in a workshop. You'll start feeling what you'll get from it, the warmth, feeling of the environment, what it gives to you. We'll put you into education of the home. We'll see how it helps you relate properly to kids, to the rest of the family. It helps you build a right connection with your other half. Of course, it's all education. A person must understand the world he lives in, ecology, the whole system of nature that he's a small part of. He's in it. The fact that we came off the trees and built ourselves a new jungle from rocks like this, it doesn't mean that we're not in the bubble of nature. We're in a sphere called nature. And we need to maintain laws, but we just forgot. It's like it's hidden. In this cement, I want to hide from nature, heat, cold, all these things. I'm always protecting myself. But actually, I see that it's not enough to protect myself. And life is becoming more and more challenging. So the moment I start educating a person, he starts feeling the good in it. What does he feel? He feels he's getting good from contributing to society. Really, pleasure? Yes. Confidence, filling. If he's valued by society, he's also doing it along with his kids, his family. All the free hours that are in society, the environment, the family, that all this is going through education, activities. What are you going to fill a person with? You have to fill him with that, because at the end of the day, the man in us does not grow from filling our stomach more and more, or my yacht is bigger than your yacht and I'm proud of it, but rather from beginning to rise to another level of existence called man, that's similar to nature, that's in harmony with nature, that discovers the forces of nature, the eternal existence, his eternal existence. He starts to discover where we truly live in this system. And now in our ego, it's hidden from us. There's like a paradox here. Today, what do you need? You need to have a crisis to show a person that there's a higher level of pleasure. Correct. Why can't he just get to it? What if we said to him, come try it? No, it won't work. We showed him a little bit. You can't, because you're getting him out of his pleasure and his ego. The crisis has to show him how zero the ego is. By bringing him troubles, then it's easier for him to disconnect, to rise above his ego, to switch to another level of, to replace hatred with bestowal. His ego isn't suited to nature. Nature works on the law of bestowal. So in other words, if I'm trying to convince someone, I'm sitting with an economist and say, today I'm getting pleasure from this and this, and I say to him, there's something you can get greater pleasure from. Come and try it. You're a capitalist now. Come and maximize profits. I'm saying there's greater profit than your money, which is connecting. Why can't he come out of it through wanting to? There's no valuation from the environment. If you switch him to the new environment, If he's under the influence of a new environment, then he will change his values. But if he doesn't change his values, how can he? He can't disconnect from his previous values. He's used to them for thousands of years. This external society has pushed us to profit more and more and more, and only to take pride in that. Only in that I feel the force, the power, the control, respect. Only to the extent how wealthy I am. And now, through this crisis, we're switching to the new values. We're feeling power, control, respect. This self-value I'm receiving from the environment to the extent that I invest in it. These are opposite relations. How much I hate them and take advantage of them, and then I feel bigger as a winner, or to the extent that I invest in them, cancel myself to them. In that I feel my greatness. Because at the end of the day, I beat my ego, not them, myself. Your economist won't be able to absorb it. You're offering me something better than I have today. It's attractive. It's attractive, yes. If you tell me that there's something more than what you're receiving today, than respect and money, filling. Today you're receiving filling. Today you're working to fill yourself. But if we're more specific and you say connection between people is better than all the stuff that you're getting right now, moving stuff from here to there, there's something more, and it's called connection. But he won't be able to believe you. He won't be able to feel, because his environment obligates him all the time to stay in it more and more. I purposely walked around Wall Street back and forth, a few hours in the afternoon when everyone's jumping to the restaurant and coming back. I felt these things. It's impossible to get out of it. It's impossible. And I spoke to a few of my friends that work there. They say, we think about only one thing: how to succeed more in what we're doing. That's all our lives, from the morning to the night. There's nothing else in our lives. I go on vacation, and I always have a few phones on me, and I'm always in connection with my workplace. I have no other life. That's it. This is how I'm dressed, and I'll be dressed like this for the rest of my life, and all my pleasure is how to get the increase where I am. That's it. Society will color him in a way with these values that he can't get out of. Feeling the life there is very... You see, people, like they took them out of like a machine. It's like straight from a machine. To that extent, the society influences them. He has nothing. We see the same thing in the army, in all these places. That the strong society, strong environment, organizes a person. They're ready to go to kill themselves, just to fill the commands of the place. Until death, they'll do it. All these influences of the environment on the person. All the previous values no longer work. I don't get it. What do you mean? What do you mean he stops working? The environment itself, these values no longer work, because if money and this whole system falls and fails, then its values were incorrect. And then he needs to look what to replace them with. Let's say one day the banks crash. That's it. There's not 1 gram of gold behind anything. And then what? What about his whole dream? Wall Street becomes just a wall, just like its name, a wall. What are you going to do? It will cause him to have a crisis in the values that the environment provided him with. It's the collapse of his life. What's he living for? But today also, when we talk about crisis, everyone has reasons. Even if Wall Street becomes a wall, they'll bring dozens of economists that will explain why it became a wall and how through economy we can bring it back to life. I don't think this crisis will end this way. That will allow you to do something in its place in another manner. I don't think so. Even in another egoistic manner, even not being built on money or something else, but egoistic to receive, impossible. Because we are in a general crisis of a person's ego, not in an economic crisis. It's in education, culture, family, science. We've reached the end of all these things, of everything. How a person relates to himself and nature and society. We've reached a global crisis in everything a person deals with. His business and all these things is egoistic consumption. So this is actually the crisis. This is the collapse. So then it can't work in this simple manner that you'll bring a different system, economic system. I have lots of students that are advisors, they have huge businesses, they're financial experts. They're always trying to come up with some new form of economy. There's nothing. It won't be. Especially because they themselves want to do it. It's impossible because they were taught according to the laws. You know better than I do. Here, there has to be new values, new economy, relation between the person and his environment, a person and his world, and a person to himself. The economy has to balance the relations between us. What's economy? It's the expression of the relations between us. Just the expression is based on money, gold, something, dollars, it doesn't matter what. To the extent that everyone weighs according to money and how much he gives and receives from the other. That's the connection between us at the end of the day. So how much each person weighs. Here comes a new value, a new way to weigh a person. And what we're exchanging between us, it will no longer be measured by money. Then by what? It will be measured by how much you invest in society. So economy, yes, but a new economy. You have a result, but it's the inner compensation, spiritual compensation, to the extent that you invest in time, money, and your effort and your ability, inner ability, and all your attributes, that you will invest in your workplace, in society. According to that, you receive inner compensation because you'll get basic necessities anyhow. What your body needs, you'll have. The connections will be there. The economy will be there. But it will be spiritual, inner economy. Today, economy takes a central place in our world, in a person's life. Like we said, it provides people with joy to earn more money. You spoke of the influence of the environment, that if we don't change the environment, we won't succeed at changing it. What to stop us from taking the economy of the heart and put like a hot dog, just like you put a medicine in a hot dog for a dog. Why can't we take this form of relations between people, wrap it up? What would be inside? Inside relations between people. Hang on. What is a person's motivation? His ego or bestowing to the environment? The economy of the heart, there's no money. It's about relations between people, by interactions between people, social, simple relations, not spiritual. In the community, where a person can go out and help somebody walk their dog, but it's a school for our regular life, or it completely replaces. We talked before the show, we said we're looking at 2 stages. One is supplying the basic necessities, and the second stage is the economy of the heart, is organizing neighborhoods, communities. So we can take that same economy because the society itself won't change. The crisis is going to come and it's going to hurt. If we reach the crisis, everyone's going to blame each other and then we'll get to ourselves. So if we take the economy of the heart as our suggestion and put relations into it and put in the spiritual filling, maybe through that people can develop. Please, go ahead. If equal distribution to everyone exists and a person investing in society exists according to the level of his education, according to the influence of the environment on him, yes, I agree with you. Call it the economy of the heart. But I don't understand what's the difference between what you're offering and what we spoke of. It's exactly the difference that there's a point where we can't go out and say there's spiritual filling. We can't say there's inner compensation. We know it in a very simple way that they live in neighborhoods where you don't know your neighbor. Now you need to go out, you need to talk to people. You have confidence from knowing the community. You feel something towards others. That can be an option. The model that we thought about, and there has to be education. Yes, there has to be education. So I agree with you. Go ahead. And you have a model like this? Yes. Work. It's we're working on it. I want to go to the next point. We wrote like this. Work is a platform that is for achieving the goal, the connection between people. It provides happiness and satisfaction, and therefore it's marginal. The meaning is the economy. Today, the economy has a central role. What we need to produce to supply everyone with what they need at the end of the day. With their basic necessities. How many refrigerators, ovens, televisions, computers to fill each person, each unit, each home, family with the basic things they need. For that, we need basic economy, factories, 20 or 30%. Less than we have today. And what we produce, our production has to be high quality and trustworthy, not that the oven breaks down after 2 months and somebody gets rich from me buying another one, of course. That's clear, right? And that will produce the right things. And that's it. And for that, we need economy. We're building an economy like this around the world. Of course, in one place, they have this, and we have that, and there's supply and everything. What comes before what? The economy, or change of the economy, or change of the person? Change of the person. You can't change the economy without changing people. where they understand what they're doing and gradually become ready for this change in part of the general crisis that is breaking them anyhow, and partly from the influence of your education that you're presenting, so that the crisis and education complement one another and bring a person to the decision to go in that, to the decision that yes, we need to go in that direction. The crisis and education together, yes, they support one another, because the education comes to explain to you why the crisis is here and how to get out of the crisis and how to get out of it and why to choose this route and not that route. Because you think maybe we'll be able to turn the crisis around in another way. But rather, education needs to bring a person to the point where they understand that there's no result from this crisis except starting to rise above our nature, our egoistic nature, to another level of existence. And then in accordance, you can start to change the previous economy, the factories, everything. And they will, in the meantime, collapse. And they'll go into bankruptcy, etc. And this helps each other, the two sides. The law of nature is a law of balance. Is it possible that the crisis is balancing things out by itself? No. Because you have to change per person's nature. The crisis will not bring nature into balance. The crisis will just cause everything you have to collapse. Everything you have will collapse, including the basic necessity things. You think that it will just bring everything down to a necessary level and leave things. No. If it wasn't an egoistic crisis, rational, then possibly. But because it's an egoistic crisis, because people will be concerned only for themselves, and therefore most people will not be left with even bread. And then there will be revolutions and protests and civil wars in every country. The Nazi regimes will come. You can already see it coming up in Europe. And it will cause a world war. It's not that the bubble will be reduced gradually to a certain level, to an acceptable level. No. We see how it's happening today. The crisis doesn't work in a rational way. It awakens in people viciousness, attributes that will bring the world down. So the point of the crisis is to break a person's ego, but to show a person that there's no bad force in nature except the ego. That he has to try to start to use it properly to rise above it. You can't break it. It's impossible. It's our nature. We can rise above it by connecting with the environment. When I merge with the environment and we decide together to rise above our natures, let's start to promote how great this is, rising above our egos. That is the only way. This is the only way we can be saved. There's no way to distract people, get their attention. We don't want to reach a crisis. We don't want to reach places where we'll only be able to change a result of the crisis. So if it's possible to make a move that you spoke about, that a person can use their ego to rise to the new era, take him there so that he'll look throughout the window and he'll see in one window all the bad things and won't pay attention, and then we go through a stage and say, look what we went through, now we're new people. Can't we do that? It has to be through breaking? No, it depends on your education. If you succeed in reaching with education first. I say the education and crisis work together. But in what proportions? The proportions you determine. Put education in more aggressively, in a more effective manner, and then you'll need less of a crisis. In my perception, or for real? With a microscope, I can see a tiny germ, and it's enough for me to start working against it. And if I don't have a microscope, if I don't have education, then I'll wait till it'll come out, break out. We wrote another sentence here. We might not have time to talk about it here. Just a little trigger about economic growth. Economic growth means that the economy will truly serve the society's varying needs and give citizens the ability to concentrate on truly important things. But I don't think the needs of society changes. This cow that ate grass thousands of years ago eats grass now. I need certain calories, good stuff, healthy. But not that something changes. There's nothing to change. Change what? On TV? That it'll have 3D, 4D? The question is to what extent a person needs it or is being driven to it. The intention is growth of society or aging that we have to look after, but not changing our needs, our bodies' needs. They're basically, there's nothing new. Food, sex, family. You need a house. You need everything in your house. But we spoke of other things. That we spoke of technology to develop things that will help people. Technology needs to be just to replace the old technology, to do these things in a more effective, healthy manner. Nothing else. In this entire development, even technology, if it's effective for us, if it contributes to us to create this cup instead of building it like this, then it'll cost half price. That I'll use less energy, less materials, or it'll be healthier, yes. You have to bring things to society and say, I reached a new way to create a cup. It takes up half the sand, glass, energy, and it's healthier. Look, and we look at it and say, great, we're accepting this technology. We're going to make this cup from now on. But otherwise, what do you need to bring it for? All of development has to be just based on saving more and bringing more effectiveness. So where's the growth? That's the growth. In the savings, monetary savings, if my body isn't changing, I'm like a cow. I eat the same thing. What can I have? You'll develop recreational, cultural, but at the end of the day, nothing else. Our animal doesn't need anything. You need fancier glasses. What do you need? And in a wider perspective, how will humanity's growth be expressed in the eternalness and the connection by attaining the upper goal, the upper life? It's not human if he's just looking after his body. It's a herd. It's an animal. Humanity means how he fills the human level inside him, and that belongs to the level of man. It's only by connecting with society where he finds new life, upper life, superior life. Therefore, the economy is will only develop in one direction, toward saving, toward convenience. We'll need better glasses. I don't know what the next generation will be. I remember I used to have thick glasses like this, huge, and it was like a half a kilo on my face. So I want to develop these things, of course. But these are necessity things that make our life more comfortable, but not for the sake of somebody profiting. It's all rational, needs to be. In that direction, yes. So Rav Lyman, on this optical note, where we know we need to make better glasses that look better. Thank you, Rav Lyman. Thank you, Igor. Will be with us in the next shows of New Business. Thank you.